going on, everybody? Bogo Sports here. I'm going to have my quick reaction to UFC 288. So we're going to start from the very bottom. And there's not much to talk about here because I went 0 for 4 to start the fights. Holmes lost by knockout. Phil Hawes lost by knockout in a crazy loss to Al Liskarov. I don't know. Phil Hawes is one of the weirdest fighters. Braxton Smith lost to Parker Porter in the complete opposite of what I predicted. And then Marina Rodriguez lost to Jandra Doba. It's too bad. I think that's probably going to be it for Rodriguez as far as title aspirations, given her age. But still a decent fight. So then moving forward, so I went 0 for 4. And I finally got a win in my predictions when Chaos Williams got a victory. But it was very close and not the way I predicted it. But I finally got one. And Kennedy Nzechukwu won against Devin Clark. So, 2 for 6, I guess. But then one of the biggest surprises was Matt Favola knocking out Drew Dober in the first round in a crazy fight. That was the first time Drew Dober's been knocked out, and I think like forever. I think he may have at the very, very beginning of his career, but I think that's definitely in the UFC the first time. So props to Favola to have come back, and he's on a good run right now. So sweet fight right there. Hopefully Dober can bounce back. So then moving to the main card, first fight, Gracie versus Jourdain. I picked Jourdain correctly, but that was a terrible fight. The next fight was Movsar Evloev versus Diego Lopez, and Evloev won, so I did predict that as well. So, I'm on a nice little run here, 2 straight, but the fight was that was a fun fight. It was a super fun fight. Lopez came in and surprised a lot of people, I think, with his jiu-jitsu prowess, especially off his back, with a high-level wrestler like Evloev on top in his guard. I think one of the top things that stuck out to me was early in the fight, I felt like he was rushing. He was rushing to pass his guard, trying to throw the legs over. And in a couple times, that allowed Lopez to kind of lock up a triangle, not fully get his leg over the head and lock up the complete triangle around his ankle, but he got the setup for it. And then when he got there, he was chilling at times, eating some shots. But then he would cut the angle by putting his hand under Evloev's one of his legs, and he threw up an armbar from there and got a super close armbar. Evloev in many submission attempts tonight was really, he fought through very well. Evloev was a more composed fighter, and actually Lopez hurt him on the feet in the first round as well. So I thought Lopez won the first. It was super impressive, and it looks like 2 judges thought the same as well. Evloev did more damage in the second. I felt like Lopez was not active enough. That's understandable. And he started to get hit, especially on the feet as well. And then the third, he was losing. And I did give the fight 29-28 to Evloev. But Lopez had a knee bar that was extremely close. So, great fight. Next fight, we have Yan Xiaonan versus Jessica Andrade. Yan Xiaonan wins by KO over Andrade. In a fight that, not many people would have expected. But I definitely think, great win for Yan Xiaonan. Andrade's usually the person knocking people out. And this is Yan Xiaonan's first knockout in the UFC, and it was over Andrade. I think I'm kind of glad it happened because I don't like Andrade's style too much. She wins a lot just because she's aggressive and stronger than a lot of the girls in the UFC. And Yan Xiaonan, Andrade's just swinging left hooks with her chin straight in the air. Not really a great technique. And Yan Xiaonan made her pay. Knocked her out. So now moving to the co-main event. This is a tough one to watch just because the Canelo fight was on at the same time, and where I was watching, the Canelo fight was up top and this one was below, so I was going back and forth. It was the later rounds of the Canelo fight, but Bilal Muhammad unfortunately wins the decision over Gilbert Burns. Burns hurt his shoulder or his arm at some point in the fight early, and he was off. It was not a good fight. It was a Bilal Muhammad fight. Not very entertaining, but I do have to give him props. He fought well on the feet and was a lot more varied with the kicks than I thought. So, he's showing improvement, but I don't know. Hopefully, at least he's not next. At least we know now Colby will be fighting Leon. Okay, main event. This was a great fight. I really enjoyed it. I picked Sterling, I think by decision here. I picked Sterling, I think by decision, but I definitely picked him to win. And I ended up getting that correct. It was a great fight, very close over Henry Cejudo. I felt like Cejudo did look a little bit off. I think not because of age. He seemed to be fine in there. I think it was ring rust. He just has not competed in the UFC in a little while, and I think he started slow. And even at the end, he just didn't. I think he was, getting back into it in this fight. So he could have used a tune-up before this. But Aljamain Sterling wins by split decision. I didn't think it was a split decision. I thought it was pretty clear. that he won the first round, lost the second, won the third and fourth, and then lost the fifth. I thought it was a clear 48-47 for Sterling, but I can understand if somebody gave it to Cejudo as well. Some of the big things in this fight: Sterling was able to compete with Cejudo in the wrestling. Excuse me. Cejudo got that first takedown, and then I said, "Uh-oh, like that was easy," and it was. But Sterling was able to get back to his feet, and the biggest factor as to why he was able to compete with Cejudo in this fight was, and in particular in the grappling, was his strength and size. He was so much bigger than Cejudo, and I knew that was going to be the case. And you could see it right when they said, they shook hands, went to their corners, and met in the middle of the octagon in the first round. Sterling was so much bigger than Cejudo, especially when he was putting that pressure on. When Sterling comes out in the first round, puts that pressure, walking you down, it's almost frantic. He's like jittery with his feints and just heavy pressure right away. I mean, that's a scary sight, especially for that guy at 135. He had great pressure in the first round, and the size not only helped him in the grappling to keep up, making up for that lack of technique, which I spoke to in the preview, but on the feet as well, that his length, his reach, he had a huge reach advantage, and especially with his kicks, it gave Cejudo trouble. And I think that was the determining factor in this fight. Times when Sterling was losing, it seemed like he would be taking a rest, or, knowing he was up, particularly in that fifth round, and kind of just dancing around and poking and prodding. But he landed some good shots on the feet as well. That's something some people will say, he just was pitter-pattering the whole fight. But he did land some great kicks to the legs. He had some nice body kicks at times. And he would land some straights in awkward situations where he'd dip his head, and then all of a sudden he's up back throwing the left. He did some standing elbows. He really looked good on the feet as well. And he was even able to take Cejudo down. And I think, a lot of strength there. I was surprised, he had some bad shots a lot of times, telegraphing them, but he was able to keep that pace up for the whole fight, which was impressive to me, especially with how much weight he cut. So Cejudo, I thought he looked fine. Like I said, I think he was just kind of getting back into it, and that kind of held him back in this fight. But he still looked really good, almost won. He was dangerous on the feet. He landed some good shots. Aljo showed a good chin at times. But overall, I think Aljamain Sterling was just kind of showed people like, hey, I'm not a fluke. I am not just some scrub that has the belt. And that's the thing that kind of annoys me, is because people don't like him from the Yan fight, they act like he's not a good fighter. It's like, are you kidding me? This guy's the bantamweight champion. Even if you don't like him, you can and even if you don't think he's better than fighter X or fighter Y or Z, you still have to admit he's one of the best people in the world. And so I think that solidified it last night. So let me see, how did I do as far as the picks? So I got Sterling right. I got Burns and Muhammad wrong. I think I picked Andrade, so I got that wrong. I got Evloev right. I got Jourdain right. So 3 out of 5 on the main card. I missed Frivola. I got Njoku and Chaos Williams, and I missed those correct. And then I missed the Marino Rodriguez fight. So 2 for 2 on the prelims, or 2 and 2 on the prelims. So what does that make me? I don't even know. I'm not going to try to do math. 5 for 9. And then I lost all of the early prelims. So 5 for 12. Not the best. So hopefully I can establish a little bit more credibility on the next card. But overall, it was a fun card, not the best. I thought the Canelo fight was by far the best fight of the night, but still an enjoyable UFC card, and the main event was a really good one. So let me know what you guys thought about the fights last night. Please, drop your opinions and your takes on the main event and the co-main event, and who was your biggest performer of the night in the comment section below. Peace.